Hello, everyone, and welcome to this specific session of the Thriving Families Africa Summit. And today we are exploring a theme that runs very deep in many homes, fatherhood, mentorship, and what it just really truly means to show up for our boys. Our guest, John Wills, has spent many years working alongside young men as a mentor, as a father figure, and he'll tell us a little bit more about the work that he does. And one thing that really stands out for me is the effect you have. I have sent a lot of young men your way, and your work is just a testament to the incredible gifting that you have to really support young men and boys. So, karibu sana. Thank you for showing up for this conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate allow me to, great. It's something I needed to click there.
All right, not a problem
Yeah.
at all. So just tell us a little bit about you and the work you do and how you got there.
Oh, great. It's a long story.
Yeah.
So it started, this started, I think, way back in 2005. I think that's when I can trace the experience that working with young men. But before that, I went to a good school. We had I would say he was the best principal, because this guy, one of the things he kept on emphasizing is that yes, this is a national school, but the most important thing is not the test. The most important thing is to function like a human being.
Yeah.
Because you can pass and not function like a human being. So that was huge for us. There was a lot of mentorship that took place. But the defining moment for me was when I was in school. I think I was in Form 2, and 6 boys that used to hang out with, play soccer back at home, they were shot by the cops. And they were all killed. So when this guy got to see that, one of the things he said is that it will be very difficult for you to go home because I need you here, and most of the time I spend time in school. Then upon graduating, I play percussions, and I was part of a band. So the reason why I say 2005 is because one day when I was going to, we were going for practice just before the event over the weekend. I met a young man in Central Business District, just sitting somewhere, and there was a conviction in me. Talk to this guy. So at some point I thought, whoa, that's a bit weird. So the more I continued walking away from him, the stronger it was. Go back and talk to this young man. So that's what I did. I went back and we started having a conversation. So I told him time is running out and I need to go for practice because we have an event coming up. So when we got to this place where we were practicing, I asked him to sit outside. Then after practice, I came back and we continued with our conversations, and he was vulnerable, sharing about his experiences and all that. And so what happened is that we decided to conclude our conversation and try and book another meeting.
Okay.
But that was it was quite interesting because as we were parting ways, this young man said, "John Wills, I would want to give you something." And in my mind, I thought, in Nairobi, we are transactional and all that. I thought, oh, this young man wants to pay. So I told him, no, don't give me anything. It's okay. You just go home. Then we can meet again. And he was hesitant, but he said, no, I must give you something. So I told him, okay, Sawa, you give me. And he removed a bottle this size from his pocket. And it was poison. So he was planning to die by suicide. My interpretation was wrong about that, and we all have our own biases and perceptions. But I trace it back to that point. Then after that, I was involved in mobilizing young people in Nairobi for mentorship and reconciliation with their parents. That is after 2007, 2008 post-election violence. So we had our meetings that ran for 12 weeks. After that, I have worked for different organizations. developed manuals and curriculums for different institutions on mentorship. I've also authored 2 books, that is Father to Son and The Brave Hearts. And we've continued running mentorship programs in high schools, and also creating interventions for young men, just like this morning, as I shared with you, where some young men were arrested. And we know how our criminal justice system works. And it's not just in Kenya. In Africa, it needs a lot of work that can bring transformation in the country. So those are some of the things that I've been involved in, and most importantly, ensuring that young men and boys are functioning well as human beings. Yes.
Yeah. And for you, there's your work that you do. Yes, you do have the psychology background, but there's a lot of interface with you. You're very big on the social justice aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just could you speak a little bit into that space? Why not just follow, help them heal? How does social justice come in?
One, I would say it's that very first story I've talked about, losing those 6 boys. And as a young man, at one point, we ended up in a police station just because of family disputes. And that's when I realized that most young people, they don't have a voice. And most of the time when they're taken to court, one of the things you're told, you've never been in a court of law, but one of the things you're told by the person going to prosecute you is that by the time you get there, just say guilty. Wow. And sometimes you don't even know what you're committing to. And one of the things they will tell a young person is that just say you're guilty, so that you're not sent to remand awaiting another date. But you see, when you say you're guilty, then conviction comes. And you don't know what is on the other side. So as a result of that, what I have done is have conversations with young people, and it's mainly asking them, what do your neighbors say about your generation? What do they say about you? Then what does the chief say about you? So we need to get these conversations in our society about young people. And why social justice? One, it's because no matter how you try to help people, one of the stressors that we have in our society is injustice as a source of mental health issues, because injustice breaks the soul. It breaks people's will, it breaks people's desires, and emotional turmoil is prevalent in our society. So, and it is injustice everywhere, whether it is in business. So it's trying to restore dignity for humanity, and having that drive based on doing what is right and what is just for the sake of our dignity as humanity. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we can do the work that we do without incorporating and integrating the social justice aspect, and not just including accessibility to this kind of services. I know that you and I do a lot of pro bono work simply because people are not able to afford, this kind of, and it is a social justice issue when people are not have access to that. And I mean, I know you have your own story about growing up without probably a present actual father in the house. And can you just take us into one moment from your childhood that now shapes how you show up for boys and for your own family?
Thank you for that. I believe that every human being is a book to be read and to make the next generation better, as well as bring healing in his own generation. And so when growing up, we had I would say we had the best family if I look back.
Yeah.
But something happened. I think I was 80 years old. That's when my parents separated and divorced, which was very hard, very, very hard. And talking of pro bono, I look back and I remember one time my mom sharing about that whole experience of separation and divorce, and how one of the current senior advocates in the country then did pro bono work for my mom. And so those are some of the motivations I have when we think about pro bono. So yes, my father was not present, but still, luckily, I had my high school principal.
Yeah.
Because when I went to high school, he stepped in and he did everything for me. So we used to meet every Friday, and that's why the other thing I push for is teachers need to be paid well.
Right. Yes.
Yes, teachers must be paid well. Remuneration for teachers, I don't think we are doing a good job as a continent. Yes, so that is one. Then after high school, there's a stranger, a total stranger, who just looked at me in one of these places where we had an event, and he said, "I want to work with you."
Yeah.
And so we've worked together now for 20 years. And it has been a great experience.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, I share my experiences with boys, but also conducting a lot of research to understand where children are and their relationships with their fathers.
Yeah.
And also having conversations with men on the same. Because what happens growing up without a father for a man, there are social conversations and narratives that make men live in denial. And one of the questions is the narrative about, are you really a man worth of your pants or something like that? And it's a big challenge because it affects men's self-esteem. And so men live in denial. And then number two, because you don't even know what you're supposed to do, men start resisting. And what we call resistance in our society, it's actually a man trying to find himself. And not until a man gets to a place of acceptance that, yes, my childhood was not good, or maybe I have issues with my father, not until we get to that point, it's very hard for this man to grow out of that resistance stage of trying to find himself. Yeah.
It's a very important perspective to have, so that we are not attacking the resistance. We are actually looking at it from a place of, this is someone trying to find themselves. And what does it take then? I mean, you're talking to dads out there. What does it take to find yourself, to figure that whole space out? And maybe also sharing from your own experiences.
I think one is interrogating our definitions of masculinity.
Yep.
And then number two, interrogating our definition of success. And number three, interrogating our definition of healthy relationships. Because when you think about a definition of a masculinity that we have, most of the time we take an approach that is not compassionate, not to ourselves, not to our children, not even to our spouses, not even to our friends.
Yeah.
Because some of the definitions you hear is that in the past, men used to go hunting. Men used to go hunting to get meat and all those things. Those are the definitions that you hear in most of these spaces. But my question is, do you want to tell me that that society used to consume meat Monday to Monday? It's not true.
That's a good question.
Absolutely. So there's some assumptions that we make about masculinity that are not good, and it's simply because we want to drive a certain agenda that would actually make men feel that they're not good enough to be in this world. So we need to interrogate those definitions. And then the other thing is ensuring that we communicate to fathers that it's okay to be kind to yourself, and it's okay to be compassionate to yourself. Like there are times I ask fathers, when is the last time that you bought yourself a gift? And they're like, oh, Bana, that's not even masculine. How do you buy a gift for yourself? So they don't even, most men don't take time to take a pause and have conversations that would bring in a healing. And also when it comes to definition of success, it is the other thing. And yesterday I had a conversation with some young people about that young people, and one of them asked me, where are you at in Maslow's hierarchy of needs? And my answer was, my inspiration is my grandmother, because she died empty. And for her, she had nothing to do with self-actualization. Everything was about dignifying humanity. So this person asked me a question: how is it it's your grandmother and it's not your father? So we had a conversation around that, because these are the things that I was able to pick from my grandmother. Also redefining our definition of success. The other thing is defining functional relationships for fathers. One, as men, we need people who can encourage us when it gets hard, someone that you can turn to and tell this person, hold me accountable. This is what I'm going through. Or when you have an issue at, let's say, at home or even with your child, there's someone you can talk to. And I have seen this with a group of mentors that we work with. There's a saying in Swahili that mganga hajigangi.
Right.
So what I have seen with the mentors, I see someone posting in one of our groups that I am here. We celebrate that we have mentored over 4,000 boys, but I am having an issue with my son. And this is the need. Who is willing to step in and help me? So in that community, you find that men are helping each other. And it's because of that we have a structured way of inviting men to be father figures for boys who grow up without fathers. Yeah. So one of the stories I can give is a young man who had misbehaved in school, but he was very, very, very good. This boy was an orphan, so he disappeared for like 2-3 weeks. Then when he came back, we discovered that he had started a business. So we asked him what happened, and his response was, I had gone to hold fort because the person who works for me was not around. So this was a Form 2 student.
Yeah.
So the conversation was, because according to policy, he should not be in that school.
Right.
But now we asked ourselves, okay, you kick him out. What he's doing, he's running a business, which is not wrong, but the business is wrong. So meaning that he has a skill. He's an orphan, so what he needs is direction, not expulsion. And so we assigned him someone to work with him. And as we speak, the boy is celebrating his PhD. He's a doctor. So
yes.
Yeah, so one of the things we ask men, we ask fathers and also men is, what is this future that we would want to paint for our sons and even for our daughters? Then we do that. I'm also a part-time lecturer at this University, and the reason why I engage in universities, it's to interact with these young men and to interact with young people, because I believe that as we have these conversations, the most important thing for us and let me say my definition of success is deploying young men and young ladies who are functional in our society. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, that's such a beautiful story. Very, and it doesn't take much really. And I am in that space a lot where I get a lot of moms whose boys have actually decided, I don't want to do school anymore because I need to make money, And sometimes for those who come from a bit well-off families, it's just a pushback. They know they can't leave school, but they're asking, what am I doing in school? I have this talent, I have that talent, I need to make money. And I know that's also a whole other issue. What I'm hearing is that these young men get the right mentors, they are able to get direction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, what we read as rebellion and what we read as resistance, if only we can take a pause and ask ourselves, what are they saying? Because what we call rebellion and resistance is a language. Like last night, my son, I got home and he greeted me the way he hears the mother greeting me, and he said bonsoir. But the way he said it, we were all shocked. Does he understand the language? But he has picked cues that when you say that, there's a good response. And it's the same thing with young people. So what we call bad behavior is a message. So it's that language that we need to understand. Right. And it's that language that we need to learn. Because it's a response that they're giving to our current situation. And one of the things you find with young boys is that most of them, they have, when there's such conflict, there is a anxious attachment, especially when we call it rebellion, there's that pushback, and our interpretation is rebellion. They have anxious attachment, and most of the time, as parents, we feel desperate because we don't know how to deal with that. We are not trained to deal with rebellion, what you call rebellion, or even bad behavior. And sometimes, even as psychologists, we can miss it, because when this child is brought to you, we are not able to separate the presenting problem and the real need that this young person will bring in the room. So most of the time they feel you're siding with my parent, or you're siding with my guardian, and yet my real need is 1, 2, 3. So a few years back, there's a young man who was brought to me, and I was told he's having issues at home. He can't relate with anyone. He isolates himself. And so when he was brought, I just said, okay, then we'll be working together. And so when I'm going to schools, we used to go together. And when introducing him, I used to say he's my colleague at work. So at first he was shocked. When on our way home, he told me, you can't introduce me that way, because if they ask me questions, I don't know how to answer. So I placed an invitation. I gave him a book. And I said, once you read this book, you will have answers when you ask questions. So he kept on asking for more books and more books. And at this time, I had gone to hospital. That was many years back. So this day, I went to hospital, and I hear someone calling me, John Wills, John Wills. I could not remember him because he worked with so many young people. Right. Then he told me it's me, and I want to say thank you. So what brings you here, and how can I assist you? Shock on me, he's a consultant in that hospital. So, and I have found many young people in different offices who intervene. And that's the beauty. When you see that they are functioning wherever they are, that's the most important thing. And you remember that lawyer, or rather that young man I talked about, the one I found in the streets. He's an advocate. So so if there is any case concerning young people, he's the guy to call to come and assist these young people.
From someone who had actually a bottle of poison.
Yes.
And that's why we are doing this summit. We want to share those stories. We want our families to know that there are resources, that there's a way out, and we cannot just get stuck on the problems and describing the problems and trying to fix them, because you're talking about rebellion showing up, anxious attachment showing up as rebellion. So we need to dig deeper and see what is that. Could you just explain what you mean by that, anxious attachment showing up as rebellion?
There's a desire that a child has to connect with the parent, but the parent is also not available because they are trying to sort out the child. And what happens is that for both of them, they're experiencing grief because they are losing each other. So the child is losing the parent is losing the child. And that happens because joy is not available. And there is no compassion in that relationship. And sometimes that's when parents start evaluating their role in a child's life. That I have done 1, 2, 3 for you, and this is how you're repaying me. And these are conversations that we hear in our community. I remember one time, I think I was in Form 1, the last term. So we had students of Baraza, and we had a conversation. So we were asked, is there anyone who has something to say? And I stood and gave my story about the school and what needs to change. And students picked their bags and went home.
That wasn't your intended.
No, it wasn't. So I remember getting a suspension letter. So I went home and I faked a cough for 12 days.
12 days.
Telling my mom that I'm very sick. And a day before going back to school, that's when I produced the letter. And my mom told me, now, you better go back to your maker. Because we are not living in this house. Yeah, he's the one who gave you to me, but please, I don't want to see you in this house, but you're going back to school.
Yeah.
So on our way to school, she asked me so many questions. Then when we go to school, she said, now, it looks like you don't want to study. Just get your stuff. We go home and you see what next. But the principal declined. He told me just go back to class. So when looking at that, that whole scenario, students picked their bags and they went home. That's how they received the message. The issues I raised, they were facts. But the problem is, as we were discussing this, we didn't have an adult in the room to bring clarity.
Yeah.
And so that is why a parent's presence is very, very important in a child's life.
Yeah.
An adult's presence is very, very important in a child's life to bring clarity. Because as peers, they will discuss things and make their conclusions. Yeah. And whatever they decide, they will call that wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
and also with grief, what happens is that because the parent and the child, they are losing each other, what happens is that this child gets angry because their sense of security is violated. They don't feel like they belong to this family. And then there's no understanding between the child and the parent. And that increases anxiety. They get angry and they lose their sense of control. And when a child is in such a situation, what happens is that their power of choice is taken away.
True.
And that is where I keep telling my colleagues and also my fellow parents that in such a situation, your child's soul is broken. And once your child's soul is broken, your child becomes vulnerable to so many things because the power of choice is taken away, their desires are broken, and their will. They lose a sense of direction, and even self-perception is affected by that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that again just really infuses your social justice aspect of that, because once a parent loses it and loses hope or gets angry, they take away the power from the child. And so at that point, one of the things that I tell parents when they're in a situation like that is, let's step back. When you're describing their soul is broken, that's a very profound, powerful statement right there. And how do we then begin to bring healing to the soul? It's actually to put aside trying to change the behavior and begin to focus on the relationship.
Absolutely.
It's a very difficult thing for parents. I'm just going to let this go so I can focus on relationship. It's a very difficult space. So just help dads, especially dads, in this space to just understand what that does, what it takes to begin to heal the broken soul. And how does that look like on an everyday basis in a very practical way?
One of the things I've done with the students that I teach is building on social affirmation. And with social affirmation, it's where we build a culture driven by the Ubuntu philosophy. I am because we are. And so, and that's what it formed. Like I mentioned earlier, there's actually two students who realized another student was not feeling well. And they realized that another student was not feeling well. So what they did, they picked this student and helped them to get medical support. And that's a huge sacrifice. It's a huge statement right there.
Yeah.
And so how do fathers do that? One is be compassionate towards yourself. And the other thing is sometimes we are told that your rear view mirror is what will determine how far you can go. But there's contradiction there, because if you rely on your past, even though history is very important, and you don't have compassion, or you don't look back compassionately, then it becomes very hard, because you will self-sabotage and you will blame yourself and you will take fault and responsibility for things that were out of your control. So number one, it's getting to understand that one, as a parent, you're not in control of how your child thinks, you're not in control of how your child feels, and you're not in control of how your child thinks, how they feel, and how they behave.
Yeah.
That is outside your scope completely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but you are in control of how you respond to your child,
mm-hmm.
what you think about your child,
mm-hmm.
and how you feel about your child,
mm-hmm.
which informs how you show up. So you can show up trying to control how your child thinks, how they feel, and how they're behaving. That one I tell parents, you will never succeed. The most important thing is an aspect of social learning theory. Yeah, model your way by responding the right way, or responding in a compassionate manner to your child. And then number two, developing a language and building conversations with your child. Very, very, very important. And I remember there's one time we did an exercise. So some of the mentors, they have teenagers. We decided, okay, we'll have a day out, and at some point, everyone will hang out with their son. So it was so funny because we had taken the phones. People started breaking branches, uprooting grass because they don't have anything to talk about. And it was such an awkward moment.
Yeah.
So after that, we asked people, okay, so how was the conversation? And one of them asked, which conversation? Because what are we talking about? And so one of the things that we do with fathers and their sons is to guide those conversations.
Okay.
Like giving them pointers and cues that would help them have a conversation. Okay. And at some point, we stop giving them pointers and cues, and you realize that their relationship was restored.
Right.
So it's a retraining, but it also takes a lot of humility to go through that process.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of humility, one of the things that, and I am here actually to ask you because I'm also learning. One of the things that when I'm working with parents, I talk about repairing a relationship. When something has happened, we have an intense moment, maybe you have reacted, and you're talking about us learning how to model, how to react, how to communicate. But I usually invite parents to learn how to apologize to their children. And I kid you not, I get a lot of pushback from dads. So I'm like, maybe there's a way I don't know how to guide I don't know how to guide dads into that space. Could you just tell us, how does that look like from a guy's perspective? Because I want to learn as well.
I remember when I had a reconciliation meeting with my father.
Yeah. Okay.
And I told him, Dad, this is what you did. You did 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how it affected me and all that. And I forgive you. And his response was, forgive me for what?
Yeah.
So I was expecting him to apologize,
right.
And he didn't apologize, okay? Which is a cultural issue. Yeah, it's a cultural issue, and rectifying that would require now journeying through the core values to identify the lies that we believe are true. And because that requires a lot of work, what I do with fathers is, and even young men, is simply asking them, when your son behaved this way, how did you react? And the response is always, he made me angry. That is why I reacted like this. So the first thing is to justify why they reacted.
Yeah.
And in that, that means when someone says, he made me angry, that's why I did this and that. In that relationship, you will see that the father desires validation from the son, and validation is the son behaving well. But the link here is, if it made you feel angry, then you need to journey inwards to ask, what made me act this way? Did I feel anxious? Then that anxiety is a message. That anger is a message. That fear is a message. So it's simply asking, and this is what I believe, that yes, some of us, we can be multilingual and all that, but there's a language that we don't pay attention to, and that is our emotional language. What is coming from deep within, we ignore that. and we don't pay attention, opposed to ask ourselves, what am I saying from inside? Because if it is fear and that's how I show up, then that means your son will move away from you.
Yeah.
If it is anxiety, your son will sympathize or your daughter will sympathize, but they will not be around you. So I encourage parents to journey inwards and ask, what is it that informed my reaction? Right. I was angry or I was anxious. So what made me anxious? And when you look back, especially with anxiety and fear, it has something to do with attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and not attachment with a child, but attachment with your own validation as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And therein lies the answer, that it's not just about saying, I'm sorry. You know?
There's a lot of work.
And I think
sorry, you can continue.
Once you open yourself to the journey of doing the work, then I'm sorry is no longer the big deal that we make it.
No. Right? Actually, it's the easiest thing to do, but it has one of the most stubborn appraisals in our society. Because saying you're sorry, the appraisal we give it is emasculating.
Yes.
But actually saying you're sorry, it is affirming.
It's affirming.
It is affirming that I am strong enough to say that I am sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the source of all our problems, really. Even people refusing to step down, people refusing to apologize even in public. You know, it's
but it's how we are socialized.
True.
It's how we are socialized. I have supported public hospitals. Still, we go back to to pro bono, and it's supporting surgical wards and maternity wards. Yeah. So one of the things I realized is that women they were getting discharged faster than men. It's like men had a camp there, as in guys are not healing. Wow. So so one of the things I did is to just evaluate what happens during visiting hours. Yeah. And what I noticed is that during visiting hours for the ladies, there's comfort, there's compassion, there's understanding, and they are visited by ladies who affirm them and paint a future that is okay, and create an environment that is good. And also they bring them fruits, they bring them food, proper food. Yeah. Now we move to the guy's side. during visiting hours, those who are coming to visit them, these guys were actually making noise at them. Simply asking them, as in, how did you end up here? And you cannot comply, taking medication and all that, making a lot of noise. Yeah. And now these guys who came visiting them, they bring them sodas and a bread, not proper food. Then whatever every man receives, they keep for themselves. But for the women, they were sharing whatever they had. So I picked lessons from maternity, from the surgical ward for the ladies, and decided to implement the same for the men. And one of the things I asked them is that, tell us how you ended up here. Give us your story. So we did a lot of group therapy. And then I communicated to their people, when you're coming to visit, if you're not happy, please don't come. And if you're coming, don't just come and buy some bread from out there. Make proper meal at home and bring them proper meal. And in that room, there was a DJ. So as guys were sharing their stories, they were requesting for songs, and he used to play for them in the word using his phone, and he had a Bluetooth speaker. So these guys were very happy. I kid you not, in 2 weeks, they were all discharged.
My goodness.
It is our socialization. And that's what I was trying to communicate to my colleagues who are doctors, that something that we need to do is to combine psychological support in hospital and physiological support, especially for men. We need to do that. Yes.
Yeah. Gosh, that's anecdotal. I hope you're turning this into a paper and research and evidence, because those are the things that we need. Those are the interventions that we really need, because they work, and that's evidence-based right there, you know? Yeah. Oh, goodness. Again, one of the things that's really coming through this summit is just how simple our solutions are, how simple our interventions are. And if we could only just step back and lean into that, and the simplicity of it has to do with exactly what you're saying. Bring fruits, not soda.
Yes.
Stop, being hard on them and just have conversations that bring an affirmation. We can do that. Surely we don't need money to do those things. And how much?
Actually, it's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, as we wind down this conversation, if you were to sit across from a dad who's watching, who's listening, and they feel that they have failed in their fatherhood, they have failed their son specifically, what message would you want them to hear?
One is to say that there's no single man in this world who has never failed. We all fail in one way or the other. And most of the time as men, we fail because we are not in a position to interpret how we need to show up, especially if you have more than one child, which means you will show up differently for your children, because the way you show up for your firstborn is not the same way you show up for your secondborn, because they have different needs. And sometimes that is training, and you might think that you have failed. Number one thing is to forgive yourself. To forgive yourself, that is the most important thing. And then number two, be compassionate towards yourself. And it's okay to actually embrace some things you don't know and you never learned them. I remember there was a time I had a crisis, and I went to my uncle and I told him, "You didn't teach me about this. You've taught me many things in this world, but you didn't teach me about this." And he said, "There are some things that you will be taught by life." And so it is important to embrace that there are some lessons you will learn through your experiences. And there's no single experience in life that you would call a bad experience or a failure if you choose to look at it compassionately and ask yourself, what is the presenting opportunity here? So one, yes, time can be, you might think that you have lost time and you're not able to connect with your children, but you can start from somewhere. And genuinely, fasting, working on yourself. And I encourage fathers and their sons, it is important to talk to a professional. When you realize that your reactions are causing pain in your child's life, look for a therapist, have a conversation with them. And then number two, most of the self-help books, you find that men, they don't want to read those things, which is okay. Because a bunch of them, whatever they're saying is not true. But most importantly, learn from other people's experiences. If you can, coming together with other men and having conversations about parenting, and having people that you can invite to have a conversation with your child when you feel that you're not in a position to. One of my friends, I think it was in July, invited me to his house. And I didn't know what was happening. Then he introduces me and he says, "This is John Wills. And anything that you can't tell me in this family, tell him. And he will communicate to me." And what he was saying is that I am willing to work on myself to make sure that these young ones and my family succeeds. So it's simply looking for someone you can be accountable to. But having said that, it's also very, very important to have a conversation with the mother of your child. So that as you work on yourself, the mother of your child is also working on herself, because the imbalance on how you show up can create anxiety for your child. And so I would say, as I said earlier, most importantly, know what is your responsibility and what you're in control of and what you're not in control of. Yes, that's very important.
Thank you for that. And so now when you shift to the boys now, you speak to a boy who has maybe not had a present father or a mentor, what would you tell them from your own journey that would be beneficial to them?
One of the most important things is to understand that things will turn out well for them. And number two, there's no room to give up.
Okay.
And number three, identify someone that you can work with. Yes.
So things will work well. There's no room to give up, and identify people in your spaces. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you.
for bringing hope to this space of fathering and mentorship of boys, and reminding us that it just takes one person like your principal who believed in you, no matter, even when your mom didn't believe in you. He believed in you. And I think there are many things that you are doing that people can access. And so if there's anyone who would like to get in touch with John Wills and the work that he does, we'll have all his information as part of the resources for this summit. Thank you so much for your wisdom, and keep doing the great work that you are doing.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And all the best to Stawi. May prosperity take root.
Thank you very much. I received that.
Thank you.